Je reprends le micro pour le candidat suivant, Charles Onambele. Bonjour Charles.
Bonjour.
Donc Charles, oui, on peut l'applaudir. Charles, vous êtes également doctorant?
Oui, tout à fait.
En Picardie?
Oui.
Je n'ai pas précisé, hein, mais on a une bonne alternance de candidats lillois et de candidats picards, tout ça c'est le grand amour entre nos deux régions. Donc plutôt vous, électronique, génie électrique, spécialité électronique?
Tout à fait, oui.
Voilà, et puis encore un scientifique qui fait plein de choses, du sport, du théâtre, et passionné par la science.
Effectivement.
Bon, ben on va vous écouter nous parler de votre passion et de la communication, c'est ça?
Oui.
Parce que vous communiquez sur un sujet de communication.
Ok.
Allez, c'est parti Charles, bon courage.
Merci. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to talk about communicating with machines. We all have a cell phone, but the question is, how do scientists or people communicate with their machines? So to communicate with a machine, there are two functionalities that need to be done. The first is carrying information. How do I carry my information? To talk to you now, I'm speaking with my mouth and using a microphone, and you can understand, using your ears and your mind. So with machines, it's about the same thing. But how do I carry information with a machine? The first thing is to have something physical, a hardware. Hardware. What is hardware? Actually, it's a physical matter. It can be silicon, for example, which is very used in electronics. But only with silicon, it's not possible to carry information. You need energy. And in the cell phone, for example, you have a battery, so you need an energy source. Energy source is absolutely important. No energy, no information given or carried. After carrying information, information needs to be understood. For a machine, what will happen? It is coding, what is called coding. And for a machine, all the machines that exist in the world, they speak only one language, which is the binary code, 0 and 1. Two figures to speak with a machine. Can you imagine that? To say hello to a machine, you need a certain number of zeros and ones. So it can be about 13, I don't remember. So it's very complex for a machine, of course. So if I can sum up my speech, you just have to understand that to speak to a machine, to speak to your cell phone, there are numbers of zeros and ones in a cell phone. To talk to it, to call your mom, your dad, your friend, and so on and so forth. So that is how we communicate with the machine. There are numbers of applications. I talked about the cell phone, but I can also talk about the computer, I can talk about the airplane, the car, and so on and so forth. So the problem is going to be, what is the best energy source I can use to communicate with my machine? The problem can be the weight of the energy source. If it is a battery, it has to be very light. If it is a network, it has to be efficient, no losses, and so on and so forth. And that is what we electronics call the problem of energy efficiency. Thank you very much.
I forgot to warn you that we had crossed the channel and we are now in England, and so we are now speaking English. Thank you very much, Charles. Donc, comme on l'avait dit, le jury peut poser ses questions soit en anglais, soit en français. Si nécessaire, on fera une traduction.
I have two questions. The first is, can you talk about the difference between communication and information exchange? And the second is, what is the importance of feedback?
Okay. So the first question, can you repeat it, please? please?
Is the difference between communication and the exchange of information.
The exchange of information. Alright?
Yes.
Okay, so communication, basically if we want to communicate, you need somebody between two people, for example. You need somebody, a sender and a receiver. If I send my information and my receiver can take the information and understand it, then I can talk about something, two people that are communicating. That is communication. Now, exchange of information, I can give an information to the receiver and the receiver does not get the information or understand it. But the information went to the receiver. But if the receiver does not understand it, there is no communication. So for me, that is the difference between communication and exchange of information. Is that clear?
Yes. Yes. Do you know the basis of cybernetics was feedback.
Okay.
In exchange of information. Norbert Wiener is a precursor of this communication with machine.
Exactly, because feedback, what is feedback? If I give an information to you, you need to tell me that, okay, I've received your message. If there is no feedback, there's no communications. It's very essential, of course.
Why do you think it is important to communicate to the public about this subject, communication with machines?
Yeah, because today cell phones are popular everywhere in the world. I mean, even a 10-year-old boy has a cell phone, but he doesn't know that one day nobody had a cell phone and it was difficult to communicate. And now we are communicating with machines, and machines are helping us to communicate with each other. But before communicating with each other using cell phones or whatever, we need to communicate with the machine. And I think it's fabulous to know how we communicate with machines before it's communicating with each other.
Okay, and I have another question. It's about a topic of great research at the moment. It's quantum computing. Do you think the energy sources need to be adapted to quantum computing if we are using it in the next decades or so?
The problem for those who build or who provide the energy sources is always this one. Can I provide enough power for what I have to power in an efficient way? So no losses are, I mean, for example, 99% of efficiency, so maybe 1% of losses, and the weight. So it depends on the applications, of course. If I have to put my energy source in a plane, it has to be very light, because I'm not going to fly with 100 kilos. I mean, so it depends on a lot of points, and I think adaptation is necessary, of course.